Western society has been reliant on cars as their main mode of transportation for far too long. Car dependency is slowly making our cities and our planet more and more inhospitable. To counteract this, urban planners often brought up cycling and public transits as alternative modes of transportation as a way to tackle car dependency. But both have several disadvantages when compared to cars. Public transits lack the convenience of an automobile, and cycling is often affected by weather, terrain, and physical fitness. It is obvious that alone, neither of these two modes of transportation can fundamentally change the way we travel. Then why do engineers and city planners consider cycling and public transits to be the perfect combo to tackle car dependency? No matter how convenient we make our cycling infrastructure, there are still limitations to biking as a mode of transportation. Nominally, steep terrain, bad weather, and distance can make cycling quite intimidating for some people to use bikes as their main mode of transportation. But an adequate public transit network can easily solve all of these problems. Biking uphill in the freezing cold is certainly very unpleasant for long-distance trips, but biking for 5 minutes and go to the nearest metro station is entirely feasible for most people, even when the weather is not ideal. It also takes almost zero effort to travel using public transits for a long-distance trip. While bad weather, steep terrain, and trip distance poses a significant challenge for cyclists, it is a walk in the park for public transits. And transit companies are making it easier than ever to bring your bike on board. Nowadays, bike racks are commonly found in front of buses, and people are more than encouraged to bring their bikes aboard on metros and trains. Public transit such as buses and metros are designed based on the demands of many, not the convenience of the individuals. Because of this, public transits can never offer the same level of convenience as a personal mode of transportation. Many major transit stations in Canada are littered with massive parking lots for this exact reason. The problem is that while public transit is good enough to cover most of the distance for commuters, there is a serious lack of alternatives to driving from residential zones to these transit stations. Take Oakville, Ontario, for example. Even though most people live within 3 kilometers of the commuter train station, they still choose to drive to the station and then take the public transit. Even though they use public transit on a daily basis, their daily travel is still entirely reliant on automobile. It is clear that public transit alone is not a solution to car dependency, especially in car-dependent commuter suburbs outside of major population centers. This is where cycling shines. Cycling excels at being an attractive mode of transportation for medium to short distance trips, and 3 kilometers is certainly within biking distance for most commuters. And as long as there are proper cycling infrastructure connecting the transit station to the residential sectors, cycling will slowly replace cars as a cheaper, more efficient mode of transportation in those communities. The biggest problem faced by public transits in North America is the lack of mixed-use and medium-density zoning. The single-family zoning that is so commonly found in North America is a great detriment to public transit, as any transit routes will lack the necessary volume to become successful or financially viable in the long run. The only logical public transit investment in low-density area would be connecting it to a larger population center where there is great travel demand. It wouldn't make sense for transit commissions to design sophisticated public transit networks in the middle of nowhere, but in these cases, cycling will be the perfect substitute for public transits. Cycling can effectively replace public transits in areas where significant investment in public transit wouldn't be effective, all the while providing a more efficient and environmental friendly mode of transportation than cars. Cycling and public transits both have their respective strengths and weaknesses. Public transit stand out in areas with high travel demand and population density, but is incredibly ineffective in suburbs and rural areas. Due to its nature, it can never be as convenient as a personal mode of transportation. While cycling is highly efficient and effective, Major obstacles such as environmental factors and trip distance make cycling impossible to completely replace automobile as people's main method of transportation, but when used together, they complement each other by tackling each other's weaknesses, and together they form the perfect multimodal transportation for tackling car dependency. Hey folks, thanks for watching yet another video. If you have enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. As always, this is the Transportation Channel, and I will see you next time.